to Grain by Grain Artist Stories. I'm going to start off with what are those things called? Icebreakers.
Okay.
Yes. So between noodles, rice, and bread.
Oh. Noodles. Right.
Kiss, kill, or marry.
Oh. Okay, wait. Noodles, rice, bread. Kiss noodles, marry rice, because rice is reliable. It's always there for you, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We don't need bread. I love bread, but we don't need it, I think. No.
Okay.
What is yours?
Mine's bread. Like bread is life.
Oh, really?
Like I can eat bread 3 meals a day, and you can have savory bread and you can have sweet bread. So you can have literally like.
I do like bread a lot, but you're plain rice.
I know. I know, but I mean, I do like rice as well.
Yeah, rice is good. So then are you killing noodles?
I would kill noodles.
No!
Okay, first question. Tell me about your journey as an artist. From the very beginning, how did you start?
The very beginning?
Yes.
I mean, when I was like a kid, I would draw a lot because my dad would draw too. So he kind of like encouraged me to. I feel like sometimes, if you don't have like creative parents, it's not always like nurtured or like encouraged, especially in like Asian families.
Yeah.
So yeah, luckily he was like pretty creative in that way, and like my mom also danced, so like that's why I started dancing. So that's why they were both...
you have such cool parents.
Yeah, I mean they don't do that for like work, but like they both like enjoy doing it, and my mom's very passionate about dance. So I think that's probably why they were like okay with me being like creative, you know, from like a young age. So I never had like the stigma of like it was a bad thing to do, which is like very lucky. So yeah, I was always in like visual arts like in school, you know, and like I took visual arts as a subject like as long as I could, and like did that up until the end of high school. But then I was like, I don't really want to be like a fine artist. Like I felt like I didn't really like need to study it, like pay to learn how to do more of it, and like didn't know that I want to do that as like a career necessarily. So that's when I started like thinking about doing design, and that's why I ended up studying. So I studied graphic design, but because I had the visual arts background, like most graphic designers that did visual arts, I was like, what if I do illustration, which is like kind of like more commercial art. Yeah, and then I started doing markets by doing a zine fair that happens here, which is like, it's free to have a table. It's like a lovely like community event. It's called Festival of the Photocopier. It's run by Sticky Institute, which is like a volunteer run zine collective kind of. They have like a store as well. Yeah. And they're really awesome. And so in like my like second year of uni, that was like the first market I ever did, and I just like printed some of the work I'd made and like sold some zines. Yeah, then COVID happened and I stopped doing markets.
Oh wow.
And I also, it was like whenever I did like other markets, like local ones that happen in like a car park and stuff.
Car park?
Yeah, it's like, you guys are lucky because you did like Mellow as your first market, but like the markets, that's okay. Yeah. The markets I was doing that were like local ones, like you'll pay like $20 for the stall, so it's like cool, but then it's like no one really comes. Like people like might like walk by and like stop by, but like they're not really coming to like buy things. So in my head I was like, oh, you like can't make that much money with markets. And like I ran an online store, but it was like my own hosted website. It wasn't an Etsy or anything where there's like already traffic. So I like struggled to like have it be sustainable. So I've actually like done like trial runs of like what I'm doing now, like a couple times. But then when I was doing the zine fair beginning of last year, Julia, who's Jua, she came by my stall and she was like, oh, have you heard of this market called Mellow Market? Yeah. And I was like, no, I've never, what is that? Yeah. And she encouraged me to apply, and so I did, and I was like really skeptical about it because I'd like never done like anything like bigger, and to me like the stall fee was so expensive, which is funny because it's not. And like I don't go to like conventions and that kind of stuff, so that was like always so intimidating to me. But then after I did Mellow, which is like a big market, kind of art stationery market that runs here in I was like, oh, you actually, like, this can actually be like sustainable, and like there are so many people actually interested in this kind of stuff, and like there are so many other artists like who want to make similar things as me, and like I made so many friends. Like I went into that only knowing Steph, which is who stole my pencils, and like came out of it with like so many artists that I was like so excited and like obsessed with, and like have made so many friends since then. So that's kind of led to where I am now. And then I also do, all that time have also been doing like graphic design and illustration as like a freelancer.
Wow, so, that's so cool. Okay. Wow. So you talked about like your parents being the first people who kind of introduced like art into your life and all of that. Like, what was that like? Like, was that like sitting down, here's how you draw an apple, or like, like how
That's a good question. I mean, I probably can't remember. Like I can't even remember what I did this morning, as we've established. I mean, like everyone is like, I was obsessed with like, you know, different like TV shows that was put on for me. So like the Powerpuff Girls, like I have so many drawings of the Powerpuff Girls, and like we just try to copy them. But then like I like remember my dad teaching me how to like color things in. Like he loves to render things because he was a like engineer, so he likes like technical drawing. He loves perspective. He loves to make things 3D, and he loves to shade to make them 3D. So he would teach me how to like color things in with like shading to create depth when I was like really little, which is not really a skill I use all the time anymore because a lot of my work's pretty flat. But like that kind of stuff, and like line work. But like I wouldn't say he necessarily like mentored me. He was just sort of like encouraged me to keep doing it, and that it was like okay to do, and like even that it was like a cool skill to have rather than something that was like a waste of time. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Okay. So would you say you got most of your technical training from him, or
I don't know where, like obviously doing visual arts, it's like they'll like teach you how to like render things, but usually it's like in a pretty realistic way. And I mean, to be honest, like none of my visual arts classes were like that awesome, and that like I don't know, I didn't have like teachers that were like, here's how you like oil paint, and like taught me how to like create really beautiful realistic things. Like I was just like liked drawing, so I did visual arts because then I could draw, you know, rather than doing something else at school. So I don't know, I feel like it was like maybe the culmination of all the years of doing that, but then also, I mean, if I look back to like where I was at in like my illustration skills at the start of uni compared to where I am now, like every year was like the growth was exponential because I was like spending a lot of time trying to get better at doing it. So at that point it was like a mix of like self-facilitated and like some feedback from like tutors at uni.
Oh, nice.
Because I did do like an illustration unit, and like even if it wasn't an illustration class, like the teachers could still give me like feedback on it if I like incorporated it into what I was like the project. But I'd say like all the foundation stuff was probably through like school, but like all the sort of things of like how my art looks, like what makes it distinct now, and like the sort of style I have now, and like all the things that I feel like have made it look better. I would say are probably like self-taught from just like studying other illustrators that I like.
Okay. So talking about like your style and like where you are at now, what was that journey like for you, like finding your current style?
I feel like I put a lot of pressure on myself. This is probably relatable for like a lot of illustrators, to like try find a style and like try find something that's like so distinct to the point where it's like not stuff I wanted to make. So I feel like I would go out of my way to like purposely draw something differently to try and make like a unique style. When it's like, actually, I don't really want to make art that looks like that. Does that make sense? So it's like, during uni, it was like a lot of like trial and error, and like, because a lot of the illustrators that have like had really successful careers, it's really like easy to see what their distinct style is. And like most of their client work, it's like, it's so easy to hire them because clients can go in knowing exactly what they're going to get pretty much. My skills just like went to a point where I could like draw lots of different things in like a uniform sort of cohesive way. So I was quite worried about like having a distinct style. But then the moment that I like stopped worrying about it, my art got so much better, and like I liked it a lot more. And so yeah, I feel like that was kind of the key to like creating work I actually enjoyed.
Yeah.
And there are still like so many gaps in my skills and like the range of things that I'm able to draw in a way that I like.
Yeah.
But every time I'm like, there's something different I want to draw, I just have to like sketch it out a couple of different ways. I have to like look up like how do other people draw it. Okay, so like an example was like for my desk mat that I made this year, I like put a lot of different animals in it, and like I can draw dogs at this point. I can draw cats. I can draw rabbits. But I was like, I need more animals to put in, and I like never drew other types of animals because like I didn't really know how to.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, what are other animals I can put in? We're gonna have a monkey. We're gonna have a squirrel. We're gonna have like a horse, a goat.
Yeah.
And so I just was like, what do like the Animal Crossing characters look like? What do like other illustrators who have like drawn these animals look like? And what do I like about the way that they've interpreted them? And so I'll do like studies and like sketches until now I can draw a monkey, and that's great. And like I like the way he looks, you know.
Oh, I love that.
You know, if people tell me that they can like recognize when it's my work, which is very flattering, and it's not like necessarily intentional. I'm not like trying to draw things in a different way because that's how I drew them in the past, and like trying to restrict myself to like a certain aesthetic that's like quite rigid. It's more just like genuinely I like how this looks, and so this is how I want to draw it, and like it slowly shifts over time, but like it's like very organic at this point. And so I think that's the only way that my style could have ever developed, and I think it's still going to keep changing as the years go by.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So you talked about like the moment you stopped worrying about creating your style was when it really started happening organically for you. How did you stop worrying about your style? Was it just one day like, I'm going to just stop? Like,
that's a good question. I don't know. I think maybe I wasn't getting anywhere with trying to worry about it.
Yeah. Did you shift the way, because I guess like maybe before, I'm assuming, you were like, your goal was to find your style, and that's why you were drawing as well. So was there like a new intention with how you were drawing?
Yeah, that's a good point. Probably, yeah. I reckon it wasn't really like helping me to like worry about it, and I think like once I started drawing to like explore and like just drawing to have like fun.
Okay.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
And like,
what's that like?
Yeah. Also just focusing more on like creating, like finishing a project. For example, like, I don't know, if I'm like gonna make a zine or gonna make like a sticker or a poster, just like worrying about that project like in isolation and not so much in like the broader scheme of what it says about like my folio of work.
Right.
So like maybe that was helpful, and like as a freelance designer, I like don't feel the pressure in like all my work to like I can make things for a client and it doesn't have to look like the rest of the things I make.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so I think I could also like apply that to my own work that I like sell myself. And like not be worried too much about like this one thing that I make says everything about what I want to make in the future.
Yeah.
But then also I think I became a better illustrator and like became more confident in my work, that I didn't feel like I needed an aesthetic to like carry my work, that like each piece in isolation is like strong enough in itself, that even if they're not all like super cohesive, that it's still like good.
Yeah.
And like I'm happy with it, so that's nice,
Yeah.
you know?
Oh, okay. Oh, that's awesome. So you talked about like exploring and all of that. Like, what other things did you explore?
I mean, I feel like there are so many different types, so many illustration styles that I admire. So that's like one aspect of like taking from lots of different inspiration points in terms of illustration. And also like, I mean, something at the moment is a lot of the time I'm drawing digitally, and also like for graphic design work, I'm like always looking at a screen. And I've noticed that my work has also become like pretty rigid. Like I noticed this like in the beginning of the year when I draw digitally, a lot of my work feels really static, Whereas, I mean, this is like quite a common problem. Whereas like your sketches feel like loose and like full of life. So for all the above reasons, I'm trying to do more traditional work.
Oh, nice.
Which so far this year like hasn't been super successful because I've made like the 2 paintings I made for a gallery I did this year.
That's so
and
cool.
That's probably about it.
Wow. That sounds pretty successful to me.
Thanks, yeah, but in terms of adopting it into my practice, like obviously I
Yeah.
sketch before I like do most of my pieces for like freelance and my own work, but like in terms of like doing a whole project that's traditional, that's something that's exciting to me that I want to do more of next year.
Yeah.
Like I did have a craft day with some of my friends, and I was like playing with clay, and that was fun because I don't really do that at all, like ever. So that was nice.
Oh, nice.
So I feel like maybe that's something else I want to explore.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in terms of in the past, what I was exploring, I don't really know. I think it was just like doing lots of studies and just like trying different styles and just being like open to like making whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So you talked about fine art. Like, what are you using? Like watercolor?
Oh yeah.
Acrylic.
Well, for those pieces, so I made 2 paintings for this group exhibition that happened in like May, June of this year called Pancake. It was in collaboration with Mellow, or like associated with Mellow.
Yeah.
Organized by Jua.
Yeah.
And that was really, really lovely. And I just made 2 small little paintings, and they were both acrylic on like a wood block canvas.
Yes.
And part of the reason why I did it in acrylic is because most of my work is digital, and I thought it'd be like really easy to translate my style into acrylic because like, you just use like flat colors. And there's like a bit of like color pencil on there too, just for like some shading. But so I like painting. I want to do more of that. And I do want to do more like color pencil things. I just also really like textured mediums. Okay. So I do have one piece that was like an oil pastel piece.
Oh wow.
That's like the cat that's reading. One of my prints that I have. So yeah, I want to do more of that. Yeah.
Ooh.
And clay, I want to make more things.
Oh, I'm excited to see like your little characters in clay. That'd be so cool. Yeah. Oh, that's nice. What would you say is like your guiding principle towards making art these days?
That's a good question. I mean, I feel like my creative practice, like both in design and art, is like very rooted in like being playful and also always trying to have a bit of a like unconventional and like feminine take on things. Is like, because design, even though like most of the people studying design are like not men, it's still most of the people working in design and like that have like senior positions in design are men. Yeah. And there is like a certain modernist corporate mask look that kind of dominates the field a little bit. But I guess more of the like local and more underground scenes, because I do a lot of graphic design work in like music. Yeah. There's a lots of like ornamentation, lots of like texture, lots of like more interesting things happening there. So I feel like that approach also influences my own artwork that I make for myself. Yeah, just trying to make things like playful, a little bit unconventional. Like whenever I'm making a new product, I do try to think like, how can I make it a little bit different? Like what extra sort of moment can she have that makes her a little bit unconventional? Yeah. That definitely guides my work and my practice. Yeah.
Can you give me an example of like a recent product that you kind of, what was that process like?
Okay, let me try to think of when that's a good example. I don't know, I guess even my keychains. So I recently did these blind bag keychains, and for the longest time I was like, I'll never do acrylic keychains, because when you go to like the cute markets, like everyone has them, and so it's a bit like oversaturated, but also like everyone loves keychains and you can never have enough keychains, so it's also okay. So I wasn't gonna do them, but then once I saw that you can do like mirror keychains, like I feel like I haven't seen a lot of people. I mean, the greatest like market research is just like once you stall at a market and you walk around, like you can literally see like what everyone's doing. It's like such good research.
Yes. And then you buy everything and you're like, this is for market research.
Yeah, yes, this is a business expense.
Yes.
So I feel like the mirror made it like stand out. And I have like had a lot of customers be like, oh, I love that it's shiny. I love that it's a mirror. And even that it's black and white, I think a lot of artists are, I'm just touching it.
That's okay.
I think a lot of artists are maybe afraid to make work in black and white, but I was really inspired by artist friends who like draw on their DS and it's like all pixely and just black and white like that, like Annabel, Exo Studio. And so yeah, that's why I like kept the designs black and white just with the mirror, and I feel like that was like the bit of the extra touch. And I also added a little beaded charm, so it wasn't just like the keychain, because I try to make my products not feel like they're just like mass manufactured and like anyone could just print them. Like I want the object to feel intentional.
Yes. Oh, that's awesome. I love that keychain. I have one hanging on my bag. It's like one of my favorite ones.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. Oh my god.
That's so nice.
You touched on like not wanting it to feel mass produced.
Yeah.
And that just reminded me, like I remember buying like one of your zines. So beautiful. I love it so much. And on the back it says something like printed on like recycled paper with like soy ink or something like that. I was like, this like made it even better. Like, so like it feels like you're quite into like sustainability and like stuff like that. So can you tell me more about that?
Oh yeah, for sure. I feel like definitely when I started out, I was like, everything's going to be on recycled paper and like everything's going to be as eco-friendly as possible. And I definitely don't think I'm as committed to it now as I was then. So
that's so
I'm
fair.
definitely
it's expensive.
It's true. I'm definitely not like a beacon of like sustainability. But I do like try to like wherever I can, and I think especially in this country, like people do really appreciate that, or just like the kind of audience that we have. The girlies do appreciate that extra consideration. I don't know, like if there's, I don't know really what to say about it. I mean, I just try to whenever I can print stuff on recycled stock. But then also there's the extra element of like, I mean, with like I sell a lot of stickers, and like that's a lot of vinyl, like and that's like a lot of plastic. But the stickers that I print, like I get them made locally with Rad Stickers, shout out, and they're like such good quality. And because sometimes the stickers will like peel and like the laminate will come off, but these ones they like last so long. Like you can put them in the dishwasher like every week, and they'll last years. So that is like kind of a flip side of like if I'm gonna make something that is like plastic or like acrylic or something like that, I do want it to be like durable and like be a good quality product. But also at the same time, it's tricky when you're working at such a small scale. Like I'm not ordering like thousands of units. So there's also the aspect of like sometimes I do have to go for maybe like not the best option, or sometimes I have to try out the first run in with like maybe something that isn't as high quality, so that if it does well in the future I can like do a bigger run. Something at high quality. So
that's a great way of approaching it. Never thought about that. Okay.
It's mostly because I'm scared to print like a lot. Especially if it's like a new product, I have no idea if people are gonna like it. I'm like too scared to like some people when they order stickers, they'll print like thousands at once.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like still too scared to do that, but maybe next year we'll see.
Well, I mean, like your stickers are doing so well, right?
Yeah,
maybe it's time.
Maybe next year it's a better way to do it. Definitely stickers. The girlies love stickers.
Yes.
Stickers pay my rent pretty much. I feel.
Would you say that's like your?
Yeah, I mean, it's like a reliable product. Like no matter what market I'm doing, whether it's like Zine Fair, like a cute stationery market, or like I did Finders Keepers this year, Like stickers are like the baseline, gonna cover your store cost, gonna like, you know what I mean? Like they're when I have my calendars, because they're like priced higher. Yeah. Obviously the amount they make me is like more than the stickers, but in terms of like number of units, it's probably stickers.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it's like easy entry.
It's like a little thing, and like usually if someone's never seen my store before, like never seen my work before, they'll buy a sticker because it's like everyone can put a sticker somewhere. And there's bound to be like, out of all my stickers, like something that they like. So it's like accessible.
That makes a lot of sense. Yes, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah. So you mentioned that like you feel like at this day and age, people really appreciate like sustainability and stuff. Like, do you get people commenting on? Because like from my experience, because I have some like eco-friendly products. When I table at markets, I'm kind of like, I don't think anyone cares. Yeah. Because no one talks about it. No one says anything. Like, and I'm like, is it because it's not clear enough, or like, but it's on the packaging? So I'm like, yeah. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
True. That's a good point. I feel like it does kind of depend what the event is where you're like tabling at, because different audiences are slightly different, or different events have slightly different audiences. I mean, yeah, I do find that the bigger events with audiences that kind of more like go to cons and stuff, they like maybe don't care so much. I think at the end of the day, people care most about whether they like the design and whether they like the product. But I think the like way it's manufactured, the sustainability aspect is like an added aspect that might convince someone to buy it if they're not sure, which is not necessarily like the main reason why you should do it. But in terms of like how much does it impact whether or not people like, how much do people care? I think like people, it's like a nice to know or like nice to have thing. But yeah, I think you're right. We're not ever, it's not necessarily like make or break. But I think also those who do care about sustainability, like if they saw an acrylic keychain they liked and like, yeah, it's acrylic, so there's plastic, then it doesn't necessarily mean they won't buy it, but it might just mean they don't buy heaps. Like their consumption levels aren't as big as someone who like maybe fully doesn't care and it's just like la la la, you know? So I don't know. I don't actually really know how much people care. I do get what you're saying of like, it doesn't seem like people really even notice. But I think when people like read it, they're like, oh, that's nice. But not necessarily like, if it wasn't recycled, I wouldn't buy it. Like I'd probably still buy it because I like the design. Probably. That makes sense.
Okay. Did you feel like maybe at Finders Keepers it was like more important to that audience compared to like a cute market, local market?
I think definitely, because that market is values led and like everything's supposed to be locally made, or at least like locally designed. I do think people appreciate it more and like are looking for, they're there to support local makers. At the same time, I think they kind of, because of what the event is, like assume with like a broad stroke that everything in there will be like ethically considered, because that is like a prerequisite to like to stall at the market.
Okay, I didn't know that.
So I don't know if they're necessarily, once they're there, like scrutinizing everything. At the same time, I would say the people who still stop by my store and like bought stuff from me were still people who I'd expect to see at other events that I do that aren't necessarily like values led as a sustainability as a prerequisite. So I don't know if those individual people really like were so like focused on that aspect.
That makes sense.
And I think the people who maybe are super focused on that aspect, like I don't know if they're necessarily like that interested in my work. Like maybe like want to see like handmade pottery, or like, do you know what I mean? Like interested in different things, or like have a different taste than the kind of work I make. So I don't know. It didn't feel super different. My experience and with the customers wasn't super different at Finders than at other markets.
That makes sense. Maybe with their clay stuff.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't think I'll like sell clay things. I just want to like make them, take photos of them and like turn them into a sticker or something.
Okay. I would buy your clay stuff. So.
Thanks. Clay just seems like you put a lot of time and money into it.
That's true.
And that's scary.
It is, yes. That makes a lot of sense.
Also, I already have carpal tunnel, so I probably can't.
What?
Yeah.
Why? From what?
From drawing. It was actually when I prepped for the first mellow that I did in like last year. I wasn't doing a lot of illustration work in the lead up.
Yeah.
And I also like wasn't exercising a lot. So like my posture was really bad. And so I was like pinching here, like, you know how, touch the mic again. You know how like your nerves are all connected. And so because I was slouching, like not enough like blood was flowing. And so I was drawing a lot more as well, and like on the iPad, which can be like really like really like this. And so then I got carpal tunnel. It was like one day, it's like these 3 fingers, so your thumb, index, and middle finger. Wait, is this your index finger?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, yes. Your pointer finger. They all like went numb, and it like went. It kind of feels like pins and needles, and like went down my wrist. And I was freaking out because obviously it's like my drawing hand, and that's how I make a living. And so I went to a doctor, and he was like, "Yeah, you probably have carpal tunnel." And I was like, in the middle of prepping for like my first big market, and I just started crying. And he was like, "Why are you crying? Like, it's not that bad. It's gonna be okay." And I was like, "This is how I make my money. This is how I work."
Oh no!
But no, it's actually fine. So I just like wore a brace, and I went to a physio, and she helped me do like she taught me some exercises to do to like relieve it, and also to like strengthen my shoulders.
Yeah.
She's like, once you do that and like have better posture, then it's gonna like ease the strain and like the risk of it sort of like pinching. And now it's fine. And if I feel it like start to get like tight, like a tight feeling. You know, if you've like just been, let's say, like use your fingers a lot, or like do something really small with your hands, like repetitive, like it feels tight in your wrist. So like once I get that feeling, I just have to like stop and do something different.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
But to be honest, like considering I am on like a computer every day and like drawing every day for work, it like hasn't really flared up.
Oh, that's so
since
good.
Then. Yeah. Really, like it's when I'm like not resting, like when I'm drawing a lot and not taking breaks when I know that I should, then I'll start to feel it, and I just have to be like, you actually need to stop. And I'll stop, and then we'll be okay.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was stressful.
Yeah, I can imagine. I would have like broken down in my doctor's office as well.
Yeah.
Did it impact your store, like your prep and everything?
Well, luckily I had my partner, and he helped me like so much. So I had a lot of cutting to do, and just you know how it is when you're prepping for a market. You're doing a lot of trimming yourself because you're like, I don't want to get a guillotine or something. So you're like,
do you have one now?
No, I don't.
Oh my gosh.
I get my printers to do it.
Oh, okay, nice.
And like I don't know how the girlies who cut all their stickers by hand, I don't know how they do that. That's crazy. I could never do that. I don't have the patience nor the wrist strength. Anyway, that's awesome. It was stressful, but fortunately my partner was so amazing, and he helped me so much. And like even just setting up all the cubes, the wire cubes.
Yes.
It's like hard to put together.
Yes.
So he helped me assemble my tower and like clip everything on. I just had my like wrist brace on, and people thought it was like a fashion moment because it looked kind of like an arm warmer.
Oh.
So I was like, oh yeah, I like got carpal tunnel, and they're like, oh, I just thought it was like a part of your outfit.
Oh my gosh,
which is funny.
so cool.
So it was fine.
Wow, what an experience.
So
Yeah.
But
I'm glad.
okay.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
Yes.
So just take breaks and like look after yourself.
Yes.
Exercise.
Yes. Don't get carpal tunnel.
Don't get carpal tunnel. It's not worth it.
So you talked about like a graphic design job.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
Yeah. What do you want to know?
Like, how did you get started? What do you do? What does your day-to-day like look like? A day in Rochelle's life. Yeah.
So I studied it at uni, and then coming out of that, it was tricky because I graduated end of 2019, so I was trying to go into the workforce in 2020.
That was COVID, right?
Yeah, so that was a little bit tricky. I kind of ended up having to do a lot of freelance work because there wasn't a lot of like full-time positions available. But fortunately, because I had put a lot of time into like posting on social media during uni, I had like some people who were like aware that I did graphic design, which is really like all you need to get those first few clients. So I was able to get some freelance work, and then I started working for this music label called Music in Exile. And they're a local label who service all migrant artists. And the way I got that job was through a tutor at uni.
Yeah.
So most of my work has come either, like even to this day, either through social media or through tutors at uni. So yeah, I started working for that label, and that was kind of like 2 days a week, or like 1 to 2 days a week for a while. And the rest of the time I was doing freelance work. And so now I'd say most of my work is like in the music industry, which is kind of accidental. Like it wasn't a goal of mine during uni to work in the music industry. But it kind of just ended up happening, which is nice because it's mostly like on the indie scene. You get to do some really fun things, and you're working with other creatives.
Yeah.
You know, working with musicians, and so you get to do some fun stuff. But the downside is that like the music industry in Australia is really unsupported, and so clients like don't have a lot of money and they're independent, so it's totally understandable. So it's not like a super lucrative, world that I'm in. But it's really fun and like creatively fulfilling, so that's nice.
Oh, that's awesome. What's like the funnest project you've worked on?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know if funnest.
Is funnest a word?
It can be.
Okay, we needed to.
Yeah. Recently I did the identity and rollout for a music festival in the States. It happened in LA. It's run by this band called Vacations. They're an Australian band, but they're like mostly based in the US now. And so the frontman of the band, Campbell, like I think found like one of the posters I'd done for PBS, which is a local radio station, like on his Instagram Explore page.
Oh, wow.
And it was like, it's like a bunch of animals playing music.
Cute.
And he was like, I want this bear. And so he,
that bear, yes.
So he like DM'd me, and yeah, that's how we like started talking. And it's always tricky. I was like a little bit scared to do it because I've done music festival work in the past. I did the identity for the 2023 Groove in the Moo, which is another job I got through a past tutor.
Yeah.
It's like so awesome. And I worked with him to do it. But just from that experience, like I knew there's like a lot of assets that go into music festival, like social assets and like ticketing assets, posters, marketing assets. There's like a lot of stuff that you wouldn't think, but there's like so many little things that you need to do, and like merch as well. So I was like a little bit like scared to take it on by myself, but it ended up being such an awesome process because they were just really great to work with.
Oh, that's lovely.
And yeah, it was like a bit of a time crunch, so I only like presented one concept. Usually I try to present two. But fortunately, like they really liked it, and so they just really trusted me, which is not always the experience you have working with a client. And they really like had the perspective, like you're the expert for the design stuff, like we trust you to like make the right calls. Which doesn't always happen. So that was really lovely, and their ideas were all really great and like creative, and like wanted to do the interesting thing. I've like designed merch in the past, and mostly merch is just, I don't know, like pretty like, it's unisex, but really that means it's like mask. And like a lot of merch is like not very decorative or like interesting. But that's such a broad statement. I mean, a lot of clients don't want to go for merch that is more interesting. When they're like part of a bigger organization. But like Campbell, who's the guy from Vacations, he like really wanted to do like more fun things and interesting garment items and stuff like that, which was fun, and that was nice. Like we did a trucker cap that was like camo, which is definitely not, usually people just want me to do like a black logo t-shirt, so that was like refreshing. Really lovely.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
So like how many clients do you usually juggle? Like,
Oh, it depends. With freelance, it's always like you'll go through periods where it's like quiet and you're like, I'm never gonna get work again. Like, nobody wants to work with me. I suck. And then you'll get like offers and then they're all coming at once, which is really lovely. But then you're like, cool, I'm awesome. Like, this is great. But then you have like too much work and not enough time. And then you decide to also do a lot of markets. And you're like, when am I going to have a weekend, you know?
Yeah,
So freelance is tricky in that way.
Yeah,
where
I see.
It's like so unstable, which is just the nature of it.
Yeah.
So it depends. It really depends. Sometimes it's 0.
Okay.
And sometimes it'll be like 4 or 5.
Is that like your max?
Probably, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How do you, like, today I'm going to do this client's work, and today I'm going to do this client's work. Is that?
Yeah, I kind of like break my week up into, I do try to like have like set days for like doing my own stuff, like market stuff if it's a market season, which I try to do like, well, I've only really been doing markets often this past year.
Yeah.
So I've been like, okay, the second half of the year is going to be like market time, market focus. So I'll set aside days of my week to do that, and then days of my week to focus on freelance stuff. But even like within that, I have like a couple different projects going on, so it's kind of like by priority of like what due date I've set for myself next. And then also like I can't necessarily work on one thing for a whole day. Like I can max work on one thing for like 3 or 4 hours, like if I'm really focused.
Yeah.
So even then it's like during the day I'm just like chipping away at like little things. I'll spend like an hour to 3 hours on one thing and then shift to the next thing.
Yeah.
You know? So it all kind of works out, you know, all the work is like spread. And then if it gets really busy or if they want something in a really short deadline, then I'll just work a little bit longer. But I feel like this second half of the year, my work-life balance has been pretty non-existent.
No.
So that's one of my goals for next year. But at the same time, it's tricky because, you know, like there's not always, like with markets and with freelance, they're not like the peak. There are peak periods and then there are quiet periods.
Yeah.
And so, like, I will have time to like be more chill next year because there's going to be a period where I don't really have a lot of clients, where there's no markets to do. So it's okay, like, not too pressed.
Oh, okay. That's
just a little
fair.
tight. Just a little tight.
Would you have a break coming up soon?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. My parents are coming and it's going to be really nice.
Oh, wait, where are your parents?
My parents are in Aotearoa, New Zealand. Because, they live there.
Oh,
I'm actually from New Zealand, which
I
most
did
people
not
don't know.
What? You don't sound like you are.
No, I
I'm
don't.
shocked.
I moved to Singapore.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Another country? Yes. Okay, continue.
I was born in New Zealand. I lived there like till year 7, Australian year 7. In New Zealand, we start school a year earlier. So it was
Like when you're 4?
when you're 5. I guess
Oh,
you have prep then 1.
We have kindergarten, then year 1. So we start when we're 5.
Oh, I thought you said when you're 6. Anyway, this doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Anyway, I moved to Singapore like for high school pretty much.
Wow.
But I went to an Australian school, so that's why my accent like went pretty quickly, and I've got like whatever this is, which is mostly Australian, but also like sometimes the words are like a little American, which is a pretty like pretty common thing for like, people in Southeast Asia. Yeah. Anyway, my parents are coming. It's gonna be
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna have time off. And
Oh,
it's gonna be
nice. We
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yay.
Yay.
More breaks, please. So you do freelance work in graphic design.
Yeah.
How do you come up with your rates?
Great question. It depends what it is.
Okay.
Which is not a helpful thing to say, but like work like identity work, brand identity, which is like, I should probably explain what it is. Like logos, when a brand is like, I want you to like design what my brand's gonna look like, which is usually logo, like, but also like the tone of like sometimes people want just a logo, and I'm usually like, you can't just design a logo.
Yeah.
Like, I need to do like the typefaces with the typography, like how everything sits, like the elements, the whole style guide.
Colors and all that
colors,
stuff.
exactly,
Yes.
So for that, like that's worth a lot more, like to the client. So I'm trying to charge more for those things. I'm part of this group chat with a lot of other local designers, mostly like not men, and we're always talking about how we just need to like charge more because men are probably charging twice the amount that we are for the same work, which is definitely true. So things like that is definitely worth more. I mean, you want to be charging like at least $1,000 for like a small like person, a small brand. You want to be charging like at least 1K.
At least 1K for like brand identity.
Yeah, like which is like probably bare minimum.
Yeah.
For like doing a style guide.
Yeah.
But definitely ask for more because it's worth so much, which is always tricky because like most of the times like independent businesses, like when it's one person starting their business, like they can't afford that. Yeah. But also like if they can't afford to have it, obviously if it's a friend and you want to help them out, you should do it. Yeah. And like also whatever you're comfortable charging is like valid. At the same time though, if like we all always like do work for cheap, clients will always expect work for like for nothing, and so we'll never get paid a living wage. But then for I don't know, I was just talking like in this group chat with other girlies about like how much do you charge for a poster, how much do you charge for like this and that. It's really tricky, and the hardest part is that there's no just like one flat fee that feels universal. It's like is dependent on your experience, but also there's like such a lack of transparency in the graphic design industry towards pay, especially when it comes to freelance. So if anyone has advice for me, that would be really appreciated. I know there is this like Google sheet that this like someone from the US put together that was like wage transparency for graphic design, and like all these people just like put in what they charge just like around the world. I'll see if I can find it, and then we can like link it for the girlies. But like that's really interesting, and it's good like to do your research even though there's not heaps like out there about it. How do I figure out how much to charge? It's like just a feeling. And then I'll talk to my graphic design friends and be like, is this crazy? And then like hopefully like my clients aren't watching, but like I always ask for more than I think they'll be happy with, because you can always negotiate down, but like the worst is like going low to begin with, and then you have nowhere to move. And also like always conscious like not to overpromise in terms of what you'll deliver, like being really transparent about like what is included in the estimate, so that you don't like sign up for a bunch of work that you didn't expect to do. Like for like rollout work, if it's like socials and stuff for certain jobs, if I feel like there might be a lot more that they want that they're not like sure about to begin with. For example, like they think they only want like 5 social posts, but I have a feeling they're gonna want like an animated poster or something like that as well. Sometimes I'll just charge hourly for the rollout, which is like designing all the extra assets from the original artwork. So that I make sure that I get compensated for my time, but also sometimes charging hourly can mean you get paid less. Like you shouldn't charge hourly for a brand identity, because like it's worth more than just the amount of time you put in. Does that make sense? Like
that makes sense.
And even like the value of an illustration, like if they're able to use it in perpetuity, like you need to like charge a lot more for the licensing of it. So it's just hard, and I don't even know.
Oh, that's so hard. Like we're just talking about graphic design, and I'm like, illustration is like a whole different game as well. Like because people sometimes ask me for commissions and stuff, and I'm like, where do I even start on charging?
I usually don't do commissions. There's like one girl that I do commissions for because she commissioned me a long time ago. But other than that, I don't really do commissions because like I find it really hard, because usually it's just like one person, and like my audience, I touched again. Usually my audience is like, they're kind of like young, like my age or younger, a lot of them. So a lot of them like don't have like the money to like be able to pay for like an illustration, which is so fine. I don't either. But some people have really good systems for commissions. Like I feel like a lot of the con girlies are onto it, where like they charge per figure, and like adding a background is extra, and color, like full body is extra rather than portrait, and like having like a standardized style But it's kind of like you just customize for the person rather than drawing something super bespoke per person.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's definitely a way to do it that's like great. And also a lot of people are just like a lot faster at drawing than I am. So they can make it work, but I can't.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
No, I get that. I get it. It takes me so long to draw one piece.
Yeah, and then it's because it's for a person. Usually it's a gift, and you're like, I want it to be really good. Otherwise, you know, for them it's a lot of money that they're spending on it. It's like a lot of pressure, and so I just opt out of doing that.
That's so fair. Wow, you have convinced me. I'm going to opt out.
Yeah, sometimes just say no.
Yeah. So how did therochellefish?
Yeah. How did that name?
Yes.
That's a good question. Yeah, a lot of people ask me that because it's so random. It's like a username that I had in high school, like when you make your Instagram, you're like this won't have any future repercussions. And I just like, I'm so used to it that like I don't even think about it, and that it's like a strange string of letters to put together.
Yeah.
It was like in high school, my friends started calling me Fishy as like a nickname.
Why?
Because the connection was like, they're like, oh, it's like shellfish, Rochelle, shellfish,
Oh,
fishy.
yes.
And like, I had another friend called Michelle, and her separate group of friends also like had the same nickname for her. They also called her Fishy.
Wow.
For the same reason.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's like maybe there's like something in the Singapore air of like to make you make this connection, because I don't think I would have thought of that myself. But yeah, so they like everyone called me that. Well, I don't know who. They called me that in high school, and so that was when I made my username. I guess I thought that putting the in front of it like made it sound like it was like a thing, like official. You know what I mean? And I just never changed it. And so it is funny now that like I'm like stocking my work in stores or like doing exhibitions, and I'm like, oh, like, do I want to go by like therochellefish or like Rochelle O, like my full name? And like just seeing it, on the listing on like websites, I'm like, oh, it's like kind of a random, like if you don't know the name Rochelle, you're probably like, what is that? Like, what's the shellfish?
Yeah.
It probably doesn't make a lot of sense, but also it's like, it's fine.
Yeah, okay. I mean, like, I've seen way wackier names.
That's true. Some usernames are like, it's like numbers and letters.
Yes,
yeah.
and you can't even say it in one word.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
so honestly,
it's not the worst.
Yeah, when I saw yours, I'm like, yeah, that looks great.
Okay,
I can like pronounce it.
Okay, sleaze.
Oh, so do you think you would ever change in the future? Or are you like,
Nah. I like don't care enough about it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it really matters. Like you said, like so many of our peers, like their usernames are like a combo of like miscellaneous letters and numbers, and it's like awesome. And like we live in like such a different time now where it's like screen names are like brand names, and like we're just used to like saying them now. It's like doesn't even really matter. Like people also like once they know that my name's Rochelle, like
they're like,
it makes sense.
Makes
so
sense. Yes.
it's okay. Like
yes.
I don't think I'll change it.
Okay, Do you have any goals for the shellfish, or like maybe just you as an artist in general?
Well, I take more breaks, go on holiday. But apart from that, I guess with like market stuff and like my online shop and that art business stuff, there's like so many stuff I like haven't made that I think a lot of people like they start off making. Like I've never made washi tape or like memo pads. Like I want to make more sticker sheets. Because, like, we all love sticker sheets. I love sticker sheets. And I only have one at the moment, like, you know. So all of those seem like very clear things that I want to do next year. In terms of, like, actual products I want to make. Like, obviously I want to do, like, more markets. Yeah, this was my first year, like that I've done so many markets before.
How many did you do this year?
Oh, it's not, like, a crazy number. Maybe like 6.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. But that's definitely more than last year, which was maybe 2.
Yeah.
So, or the year before, which was maybe 1.
Yeah.
So,
It's a big jump.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like, it's so fun. And like, I remember the first time doing Mellow, it was so exhausting. And like, I felt like it took so much energy out of me. But now when I do a market, I'm like, la. Like, it feels so much easier though that I've done it so many times. So, I'm excited to do that. And it's always so good just like talking to people, meeting more artists, and like attendees and stuff. So that's a goal. Yeah, do more traditional art is a goal. Yeah, and that's gonna like I think feed into like my graphic design practice as well. Like want to do more like physical things and like scan them in and like maybe just like make more weird things as well. I don't know. I feel like that would be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those sound like awesome goals. I can't wait.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Also very achievable, so that's good.
Yes.
It's all very like individual, like not relying on external things. So they seem very achievable.
Yes, I mean, whatever you set your goal, like whatever goals you set, I'm sure you'll achieve them.
Oh, thanks. That's nice.
Yeah. Is there anywhere like you want to take the Rochelle fish, like in the future?
To be honest, like I used to really be so like goal oriented and like really, especially during uni, I had like so many ambitions of like really specific things that I wanted to do or like make. And then maybe it's like going through a pandemic or something. I like am a lot less future, like long-term oriented. I'm kind of just like, what am I doing next week? Like, what's happening in 2 months? Like, what is my next market? You know, or like next milestone. I like really don't have any thoughts beyond like 2025. I'm like, let's just hope we make it there. You know, like let's just hope that we like.
That's so fair.
You know, like live that long. You know?
Yes, that's true. You don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. Like, you know what? It's so right. Yeah.
Not necessarily like in an entirely pessimistic way, but just in a like that's as much capacity as I have like to think about kind of way.
Yeah.
So I don't have any like specific long big ambitions anymore, but like not in like a way that I feel sad about, just in a way of like I'm not so concerned about doing something crazy or something that seems really cool anymore. Like maybe it's just like cost of living crisis, but I'm just like more happy to like be able to get by every day and like still be creatively fulfilled. This is like a pretty rare situation to be in, and like see my friends.
Oh, that's
like time to like sleep and eat well. Like is not always happening, so that when that does happen, that's nice.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I have any like really huge goals. Maybe I'm just like lying to myself, and deep down there is something there, but I'm like too afraid to say it or like address it. But like I can't like think of
that's so fair.
anything off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a general like I do feel like pretty strongly in like having like a creative like maybe like I feel like a lot of trust in myself in that like I can do things a little bit on the fly but still go in a way that I'm like a direction that I'm happy with.
Yeah.
But like I don't necessarily have to check myself as much anymore now that I'm a little bit older to like make sure that I'm doing things that align with my values or like align with what I'm interested in creatively, and not just doing it because it'll like sell or like because everyone's doing it.
Yes.
So maybe that's also why I'm less concerned about like long-term future, but I think also it's just because
just trying to survive.
Yeah,
sounds about right. Yeah. Well, I think you're doing really cool things.
Thank you.
By the way.
And I am like very happy with everything I'm doing, and like again, I think part of why I'm not so concerned about like achieving something crazy in the future is because I do feel like very like grateful and like stimulated by what I'm doing right now, which is like what a wonderful position to be in. So
yeah. Yay. Nice. So you have a graphic design job and you do markets and you have an online shop.
Yeah.
Do you have any other like income avenues?
No, I don't. No. I used to, like when I did part of the reason why I stopped like making YouTube videos and like doing like Patreon and stuff is because it was like too much to juggle. Like I just like didn't have enough time or like creative energy or like physical space in my brain for it all.
Yeah.
And so even just like I closed my shop at one point like a couple years ago and was just doing design, and like that was really refreshing to just like focus on one thing, because I've always been, I like assume you're the same, I've always been like a multitasker. Yeah, and try to do like a million things at once. I mean, like I have all these different interests, so I'll just do them all at the same time. And once I stopped doing that for a bit, and that was really refreshing. And then it was also hard because like a big part of why I stopped like doing YouTube was because also I like wasn't making money from it, and like it's hard to like put a lot of time into something that like didn't feel like it was growing anymore, like going somewhere, but like also like wasn't supporting me financially. I just like ended up having to prioritize the things that were growing and supporting me financially. Like they seemed obviously like more like avenues that were going somewhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think part of why I was able to add like online shop and markets back into the picture was because I had like a really positive experience and like exciting experience doing them. After all the things and like I'd learned from making mistakes in the past, I was able to like do it a lot better this time.
Yeah.
And like also just like find the right audience for my work, which I didn't really like find to such a big scale before through doing like the right markets that were like in my niche.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then also yeah, just meeting like people was like encouraging. So that's partially why that like came back into the picture, doing online shop and markets.
Yes.
And so I think my plate is like full enough.
That's
now.
so fair.
Yeah, so no, I don't do anything
Okay,
else.
okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I have watched some of your YouTube videos.
Yeah, I know, you told me
I
when
really
you did
enjoyed it. That was so fun.
Thanks, that's
I was
nice.
like, oh, like, where's the rest? I want more.
Yeah, I like privated so many of them, and I will private more. In fact, when this comes out, since I've like talked about YouTube, probably most of them will be gone.
Oh no.
It's just like, it's because I made them during the, like, you think of anything you did while you're at uni, or like around that, even just like anything you did last year. You like look back at it and you go like, oh, that's kind of cringe.
I was like, why did I do that?
And like, yeah, and just like thinking of how much of my life I like put out into the internet. I'm like I've become like a lot more of a like private person since then, and just thinking about that like makes me cringe so much. But also, I'm so grateful that I did that, and like I was so passionate about it.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'd be where I am today if I didn't do that and like didn't have that creative outlet.
Yes.
So it was lovely. But also like just me personally, just the thought of like people watching those videos, I go, well, I'd rather they didn't.
I thought you were so cool.
Oh, thanks. That's nice.
I was like, whoa, she's such a cool person.
Oh, that's really. I'm glad it comes off that way.
It definitely
But I'll
does.
never think of. I'll never think of myself in that way. Like,
hey, this
that.
friendship started because I watched your YouTube video.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my god, you're so cool. And then that's how this started. So
yeah. But we still would have met each other at the market.
That's true.
That's
true. That's true. I mean, you never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
No, I do. I feel like I do want to one day like make videos again, but they're just like so time consuming.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of energy. Like,
Yes.
it takes me a long time to edit. Like, I'm not fast at it, so that's also
Yeah, that's
hard.
sad. So am I making a mistake by starting
Well,
by doing this right now?
the good thing about like more of a podcasty format is like it's a lot less editing.
That's true.
Like, also, it's like not all videos necessarily take a lot of editing. I think just like my style and like how I like to make videos is like mostly on the editing is like how the video comes together. So
Yeah.
yeah, it would take me hours.
Oh
and
my
then,
gosh.
Yeah.
Who are your artist inspirations right now?
Like visual, like artists, or just anyone.
Anyone.
I feel like in terms of art, again, because like a lot of the local artists that I've met quite recently over the past year doing all these markets, which has been so lovely. And so I feel like a lot of like local artists and like friends are like huge inspo to me. Like Kimi's workshop, she's like one of my faves. And like I love Julia Jua. And
I
like
love the work too.
yeah, it's so gorgeous.
Yeah.
And like Sta-Ana, I don't know if you know him.
I don't.
His brother also Remy makes the crochet hats.
Oh yes, I heard of him.
And
Yes.
yeah, they're both so slayful. Like so much talent in one family. They do that.
Raised well. Good
Yeah.
genes.
Yeah. There's something in the water in the Sta-Ana house.
Yes.
But yeah, they've always, like, Tim has always been like one of my big inspirations. Because like I saw his work for the first time at one of the first scene fairs I did, and I think, okay, I have a theory that like the best artists are animators, because a lot of the artists that I'm like obsessed with are like also animators, and part of like what I appreciate about their work is like it just feels so free, and like their ideas, I'm always like, I would never think of that. And I think it's like, I was talking to my partner about this the other day, I think because they draw so much, like to make one animation, if it's like frame by frame, like that's a lot of drawing. It's a lot more drawing hours than I would have ever put in, you know, to my practice. So they're just like, one, really good at drawing, but then two, also like they've seen like smear frames and like the in-between frames of like when the characters look real stretched and wacky. And so I feel like that's partially why they're like unafraid to like play with proportion and like scale. Whereas I feel like a lot of artists who come from a visual arts background, from like a background of learning to draw traditionally, like in a realistic style, a lot of our work like ends up being quite static.
Yes.
And like frozen, and like can sometimes end up quite constrained. Whereas always I feel like animators' work is like so free. Wow. So I don't know. That's the theory that I have going. So yeah, anyway, I love Tim. Like Annabel as well. Like I love her work. So yeah, lots of local artists that I love. And I feel like in terms of like visual arts and illustration, like I feel like that has been like some of my biggest inspiration over the past year, which is so awesome.
So cool.
And then like outside of art, I feel like music is like really influential to me, like fashion, and like plays like a big role in terms of like inspo for my work. Just like the tone and the vibe and like aesthetics.
Yes.
Like I love fashion a lot, so
I love your fit.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, you have a little
have my bunny. Well, this fit is partially because it's always hard to like pick a fit that like you can dance in.
Oh yeah.
You know, but like still look like fashionable.
I look like a hobo when I wear my dance clothes. Like,
well, yeah, it's usually like pants, but it's so hot today.
Yes.
So these are like one of my only shots that I like.
Nice.
I found this album like kind of late. It came out this year. It's called Imaginal Disc by Magdalena Bay. I don't know if you know them.
I do not.
They're like an American duo, and I've like heard some of their songs before, but I only very recently started listening to this newest album that they put out, and I'm like actually so obsessed with it. And it's to the point where you know when you have to like stop yourself from listening to it all the time, otherwise you know you're gonna get sick of it. Yeah, it's like so. I just find it like so interesting to listen to, and it like tickles my brain.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm like always listening to music when I work as well. So I feel like whatever music I put on will like influence what I'm making. So I have to like put on the right music for the right mode. You know what I mean? Like I can't listen to something too soft if I'm trying to make something like chaotic.
Yeah,
you know
that makes sense. Yes.
And like sometimes if I'm really like feeling slow and like lethargic, which is like a lot of the days, and like trying to get things done, and like you need go music, you know, like I need to put on some like cunty music to like, you know, make me work fast. Yeah. So and I think like all the inspirations outside of like art, like probably like make the most difference in terms of like having like a unique approach to like my art as well. You know what I mean? Like we all have very different interests. Like even if like our work is united by like a common theme or like common like subjects and stuff. Like we love to draw animals, we love like cutesy stuff, we all love sangria and stuff. It's like all our interests like outside of art like is what I feel like helps our work come from a different perspective from each other.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing all of that. Sorry, what was the name of the album? The
Imaginal Disc.
Like that?
Yeah, with a K, I think.
Okay.
Disc by Magdalena Bay. Magdalena space. Oh, yep, you're so right. Magdalena Bay.
Nice. Cool. I'm gonna search them up later.
Yay! What kind of music do you listen to?
Everything. Like R&B, Fukori.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people who dance listen to R&B.
But I like Afro beats as well. So yeah, which makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And then like hip hop instrumental.
Because you're a dancer.
Yeah. But then outside of that, it would be like epic anime music. Like, you know when they're going to war?
Yeah.
And then it's like orchestral, like really intense.
Cool. Is that like focus music?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like when I'm working or if I'm running, I'm like, I need that push. Yes. And then I imagine this whole fight scene in my head. Like all these characters and like in costumes and then like the run goes by so fast. Because then it's like you just watched a movie
in your head
and your run's over.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, so cool. That's some of the music that I listen to. Yeah. Actually, I think we talked about it, but what are your favorite things about markets?
Yeah, I definitely say the people.
Yes.
Definitely. I especially because all my other work, I usually work by myself. So I am in desperate need of like the social interaction, which obviously it flips the other way because like usually all of our social battery is like drained after a market, right?
Yes.
But it's still really nice to talk to other people who are like interested in the same thing as you, who are like pursuing the same thing as you. Also, like most at the markets that we do, most of the other people are like Asian and like usually like not men. So that's like really, really nice.
Yeah.
And yeah, meeting like customers, like everyone is just always really, really nice. Like I think that the markets that we have here and the markets that we do, like I've never met like a rude person at these markets.
So
like
true.
everyone's really lovely. All the organizers have been really lovely.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
So I definitely say the people.
Yes.
And then like second, maybe just like getting so inspired from all the art.
All the other artists. Yeah. I agree.
And then like also getting things. The like gratification of like buying things or trading things is nice too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anything that you feel like you struggle with for markets?
Oh, okay. This is like just off the back of the market that we just did on the weekend.
Yeah.
I have like a really good system. Well, not really good, but like I have a pretty good system for like setting up. But I don't have a system for packing down. So like I'm always the last one to leave. I feel like when we do when we do Mellow in like the big conference center, I'm always like one of the last people to leave. And for what to like, it's not even, I don't know why. Like I think I just don't know like what to take down first or like what to put it in. And like I guess throughout the course of the weekend I get really lax about how I'm organizing stuff on my side of the table because I'm just like in go mode of like whatever we just make do, however I can just get by to like process these orders and stuff. And so things end up everywhere. I'll like have rubbish all over like underneath my table, and then usually like my partner helps me pack down and he'll arrive and he's like, cool, what's going on? Okay, and where should I put this? And then so I'm trying to like delegate to him, but I don't even know what I'm doing. So that's definitely one part I struggle with.
That's so fair.
And then also I put on my story before the market of like what should I bring for lunch? Because like I never like buy lunch. I'm like a pretty frugal person, and so like I'm always like make my food at home and bring. But then I'm like, I feel like every time I'm like, okay, this is gonna be really good. Like this is a nice small thing that I can pick up, put down. But then like it ends up getting like stuck in my teeth, or like it's something like I don't want to bring like food that's like too smelly or like might have like allergens in them, like peanuts and stuff. So that's another thing I struggle with.
Well, what about this time?
This time was okay. I brought a sandwich with a sturdier bread. You know, I got the like sourdough. You know,
Yes.
So I did a sandwich like that because the last time I just had like the cheap bread that's like, you know, like supermarket bread, and because it's like so soft and like squishy, it gets like stuck in my palate, like the top of my mouth. Maybe it's the way my teeth are shaped, but it's like they don't want to come back down. And so I like take a bite, and then I'm like done. I've chewed and like we're done. We're finished with our bite, but I'm like trying to talk to people, but I still have like a whole piece of bread stuck to the roof of my mouth. So that's another thing that I'm working on. But I feel like this time using a sturdy, crusty bread.
Nice.
So the sandwich worked well. And someone also suggested sushi. I was gonna make sushi, but then I think I bought seaweed for sushi, but then I think I left it at someone's house. So then I didn't have it, and I made all this rice. And now I'm eating rice every day, but that's okay because I love rice.
Yes, we love rice. But like, yeah, who did you leave your seaweed at?
Oh, just my friend's place.
Oh, okay,
I like, bought it on the way to her house, and then it wasn't in my bag when I got home.
Oh.
So I assume there's like seaweed in her house.
Okay, hope she enjoys it.
Yeah, it's okay. It's the dry one, so it's okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think I have one last question.
Cool.
Tell me about yourself outside of art and outside of your graphic design stuff. Yeah, like what are your other interests?
To be honest.
Oh no.
Like, okay. No, to be honest, like, okay. I do have other interests. Okay, no.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, honestly, like, I don't think I could, like, not do this for work because, like, really, like, I have to be, I feel like a deep life dependent urge to, like, be creative and, like, creatively expressive. So it's, like, I do really enjoy doing the work that I do. So, like, I don't end up having, like, enough energy to do, like, other hobbies. So, like, I like to learn languages, but then I always, like, stop because I, like, don't spend enough time. Obviously, I like to dance. Yeah. But, like, for the longest time, like, haven't been going, like, I've only started going to dance classes again, like, recently after starting talking to you. And just feeling, like, so inspired by you guys.
Aww.
And being like, oh, actually, like, this is something I really do care about.
Yeah.
And so, like, setting aside time to do that has been really lovely.
Aww.
And, like, also just so good for me to, like,
physically
have that workout.
Yeah.
But it's also, like, so nice to have, like, another creative avenue. And, like, it's, like, so different because it's, like, you're not all in your head. It's, like, through your body. Like,
yes.
It's so nice.
Yes.
So that's been really lovely.
Nice.
But I kind of, because most of my interests, I'm interested in them because it's creative. I have to, like, stop myself. Like, I used to crochet a lot, but I had to stop myself, partially because of carpal tunnel, but also because, like, I like, kind of get time sucked into it. And so I would then, like, do that and, like, not have, like, creative energy left for my job, which is, like, tricky. So, yeah, trying to have, like, more not creative hobbies. Yeah, I'm trying to read more. It's not going very well because at this point my attention span is so short. But, like, I'm trying.
Yeah. What sort of books are you into?
I like fantasy and, like...
Me too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Maybe you can do you read much?
Not anymore.
Yeah, right? Like, I used to read a lot as a kid, but not so much anymore. But we'll find some books.
Yes.
Have
you read Mistborn?
No, what's that?
It's like this fantasy series. Like, when I was reading it, it almost felt like, this would be so cool if it was an anime, but it's not. Yeah, it's like fantasy, magical, and I loved some of the themes that they explored, which is like women in a leadership position and like religion and all of that stuff.
Cool.
So yeah, but like I have a really bad memory, so if you ask me what happened in the book, like I don't really remember. So
that's okay. That sounds cool though.
Yeah, and it's like kind of like Avatar, like with the first 3 books were like back then, like in Avatar, and then like the next 3 books was like the world has like modernized, and it's like the next characters and like cool. Yeah, give it a go. It got me back into reading.
Okay,
when
cool.
I was in uni.
That's a good sign. Yeah, I'm also gonna. My friend runs this bookshop called Amplify Bookstore, and they only stock BIPOC authors. So like they used to be just online, but at the moment they have an in-person pop-up. You should go if you have time. So I'm going to visit their bookstore soon. Nice. So maybe they can give me some recs as well.
Nice.
Anyways, trying to read more. But also just like, I love movies. I don't read a lot because I'm like, oh, I could just watch a TV show or movie. And like, I love movies. And also, I love like, okay, this is like something I got into because of my partner. We love to do quizzes. We love like, we don't like go to trivia nights, but we love like an online quiz. We like have started doing like geography quizzes.
Oh, that's so cool.
My geography used to be really bad, but then after like I started dating him, it's gotten so good.
Wow.
So I love puzzles. Ooh. I love puzzles. I don't do physical puzzles anymore because they're like, I get sucked into them and I'll just do that instead of working.
Yeah.
Which is not, like, I can't afford to do that. But even just like, you know, like digital puzzles. Like, there was one point where I was doing a lot of Sudokus, but then I also had to stop because I get addicted. I have like a bit of a personality where I'll get like obsessive over something. Yeah. But I like puzzles and stuff
nice.
like that too. Yeah.
Okay, well, I think that's the end of the interview. Is there anything else you would like to share that I maybe didn't touch on?
No, I feel like we talked about so much.
We did. I think you're the longest interview I've had.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like this has been 2 hours.
How long has it been? 1.5 hours. You are my longest interview.
Wow.
Yeah, but I loved.
No,
I loved listening to everything that you talked about and that you said. So thank you so much.
Of course. Thanks for having me.